Pastor Ed here with Daily Devotions for Thursday, December the 14th, 2023. Of course, we're in the season of Advent. We've been talking about John the Baptist, talk about that message of comfort from our reading this past Sunday. I'm going to come back to that theme of comfort in a couple of days. But for today and tomorrow, I want to talk about this idea of preparing. Of course, John the Baptist was all about having people and encouraging people to prepare for the coming of Jesus. And we are not preparing for his first coming, obviously, but for his second coming. And so preparation is an important theme of this season of Advent. A fellow by the name of Ed Watt was once visiting a local department store with his wife, and they just purchased a piece of luggage and also a cooler. And as Ed browsed in the shoe department, waiting for his wife to finish up the rest of her shopping, a clerk asked if he could be of assistance. And Ed replied, "No, thank you, I'm just waiting for my wife." And at that point, a man behind him said, "Wow, I'm waiting for my wife too, but I never thought to bring lunch in an overnight bag." Preparation. In her book, Teaching a Stone to Talk, Annie Dillard reveals a sad but poignant story. She tells of a British Arctic expedition that set sail in 1845 to chart the Northwest Passage around the Canadian Arctic to the Pacific Ocean. However, neither of the two ships and none of the 138 men on board them ever returned. And Dillard argues that Captain Sir John Franklin prepared as if they were embarking on a pleasure cruise rather than an arduous and grueling journey through one of the Earth's most hostile environments. He packed a 1,200-volume library, a hand organ, china place settings for the officers and men, cut glass wine goblets, and sterling silver flatware, beautifully and intricately designed. And years later, some of these place settings would be found near a clump of frozen, cannibalized bodies. The voyage was doomed when the ship sailed into frigid waters and became trapped in ice. First, ice coated the decks, the spars, the rigging. Then water froze around the rudders, and the ships became hopelessly locked in the now frozen sea. Sailors set out to search for help, possibly delirious from lead poisoning from the cans which had preserved their food, but they soon succumbed to severe Arctic weather and died of exposure to its harsh winds and sub-freezing temperatures. For the next 20 years, remains of the expedition were found all over the frozen landscape. Dillard reports that the crew did not adequately prepare either for the cold or for the eventuality of the ships becoming ice-locked. On a voyage that was to last 2 to 3 years, they packed only their Navy-issue uniforms, and the captain carried just a 12-day supply of coal for the auxiliary steam engines. The frozen body of an officer was eventually found miles from the vessel, wearing his uniform of fine blue cloth edged with silk braid, a blue greatcoat, and a silk neckerchief, clothing which was noble and respectful, but wholly inadequate. Historians may doubt the wisdom of such an ill-prepared journey, but more important to us, asks Steve Goodyear, is the question, are we too prepared for the important voyage that we have embarked upon, that journey that we call life? And so he writes about, I want to be as ready as possible for whatever may lie ahead. And among the things, he says, I try to prepare myself for the future in several ways. Intimacy, I need some caring people in my life. Work and finance, I need to work and to pay my way through life, but also to help others whenever possible. Spiritual life. When I am spiritually centered and at peace, I can handle most things, most challenges in life. Service to others. A lake with no outlet becomes a dead sea, he points out. Well, that's true with people too, he suggests. Mind and body, exercising my body as well as my mind helps them both work better. Attitude adjustments. I really can control my outlook and attitudes. Emotions, I can also control my reactions, including anger. And relationships, I need to make sure my relationships are healthy. As long as we are alive, says Goodyear, our journey is not over, and in large part the success of our journey will be determined by our regular and systematic preparation. Well, he's talking about life, the journey of life in a general sense, but what about thinking of it in terms of our lives as Christian people and preparing in this life for the life that is to come? Intimacy, work, spiritual life, service to others, mind and body, attitude adjustments, emotions, relationships, all of those things are just as important for the life of faith as they are for life in general, because in all those many ways, we're preparing ourselves for the future. The story is told, and I thought it was one that was made into a movie called Into the Wild, but that took place in the 1990s. Apparently, it was not so unique, because in the spring of 1981, a young man was flown into desolate northern Alaska to photograph all the natural beauty and mysteries of the tundra. He took along with him 500 rolls of film, several firearms, and 1,400 pounds of provisions. And as the months passed and the words in his diary changed from wonder and fascination into a nightmare, he wrote in August, "I think I should have used more foresight in arranging my departure. I'll soon find out." Well, in November, he died in a nameless valley by a nameless lake, 225 miles northeast of Fairbanks. And a subsequent investigation revealed that though he had carefully planned his trip, he had made no provision to be flown back out. Difficult to imagine, isn't it? How could anyone be so foolish? He made every provision for his journey except how to get home. Unbelievable. How tragic, we say. And yet how many people make every provision for life here on earth, but no preparation for their departure? God has warned us that there is life after death. He warns us, just as man is destined to die once and after that to face judgment, so Christ was sacrificed once to take away the sins of many people. And he will appear a second time, not to bear sin, but to bring salvation to those who are waiting for him. And so the question is, are you prepared to meet God? Very profound, moving message, I think, and question for us in this season of Advent. Let you ponder about that for 24 hours, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about the preparations of Advent and the purpose of preparing ourselves tomorrow. Until then, take care. Have a great day today. Bye.